Hello, my brother priests and deacons. I take this opportunity to come to you on behalf of the Lumen Christi Commission of the Diocese of Allentown, as well as our joint work with the Office of the Chancellor. And it regards primarily the document that we all use when it comes to marriage preparation, which is the prenuptial inquiry. We now have a new prenuptial inquiry that we are sharing with you and that you will be using as part of your marriage preparation process. You'll see that this new one especially has the distinguishing aspect of the color seal of the diocese on the front of it. What's new about this? When the Lumen Christi Commission was first formed, we took on a number of different projects that over the course of time we knew were going to be important to the diocese. And one of the things as we gained data from the tribunal, as well as from the conversations that have happened with priests just in not only marriage preparation, but also marriage counseling, and seeing the statistics that come from the United States alone, it is very clear to us that the work of the Lumen Christi Commission regarding pornography needed to be fused with what we're doing in the work of marriage preparation, especially on that 1-2 couple situation of the priest or deacon meeting with a couple in preparation for marriage. And so after talking with a number of our priests who have canon law degrees and also working with the Chancellor's office and a number of discussions with the bishop, we've been able to make a change to a question, now replacing it with 2 questions. And so you will note in each of the sections when you're asking the couple, the previous question 24 was, do you have a history of drug or alcohol abuse or any other addiction? And one of the things that we looked at was really, in truth today, whether you want to take it from the point of confession or the struggles that are facing couples, the over-sexualization of culture and also the issue of pornography and living in a pornified culture is a much grave danger in comparison to drugs and alcohol. This means we're not discounting drugs and alcohol, but we're also giving the proper focus on the issue of pornography. And so we wanted to offer this video as a clarification for the reason for the addition of these 2 questions in replacement of the previous question 24, and to just give some helpful reminders. And so here are what the question 24 and 25 now say. First, question 24. Do you have a habit or history of drug, alcohol, or pornography use? One of the things that we wanted to do was to remove the word addiction, because addiction can sometimes, with stigma or the extreme nature of addiction or the fact that there are varying levels of addiction, could be off-putting. Well, if I'm not completely in a life of addiction where I'm sort of rendered incapable of doing anything else, then I'm perfectly fine. I don't have an addiction, etc. Also, because I may not attend a meeting or something else that I go to counseling for, then I don't have an issue. More, the issue of habit or history is something that the person can consider when thinking about drugs, alcohol, or pornography. And that history is important, even just to the level of talking about it, understanding that if they do have a history, how impactful is it? Because what we're finding out more and more is that a person's history is impacting, whether it's because of repressed trauma, repressed use, repressed whatever it is, that it comes up later, but it doesn't come up around the time of marriage preparation. It's coming up 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10 years into the marriage, and then it's causing all other sorts of problems. And so in this preparation phase, it's important for us to ask that question. Do you have a habit or history of drug, alcohol, or pornography use? Now, the second question looks outside of the own person's personal assessment and looks at how have others also felt about their actions regarding these various issues. And so question 25 now reads, are you or someone who knows you concerned about your usage of drugs, alcohol, or pornography? And so one of the things that we look at is, again, relationships are important. And so while the person themselves may not have a concern, or they may have thought there's no reason for my future spouse to know of anything that's happened in the past, this is a really good time to have that conversation. And even to have the opportunity for that person, if they sort of body language, if they sort of, move in their seat in an uncomfortable way, or if they're not sure, it's an opportunity for clarification. And again, it's an opportunity to have a discussion with that person, because in our world today, it's not so much a question of have they, it's a question of how much have they been impacted, especially by the issue of pornography. Drugs and alcohol, maybe not as much, but pornography, especially because of its pervasiveness, because of those 5 A's, of the fact that it's anonymous, that it's accessible, that it's affordable, that it's accepted, and that it's aggressive. This is why the Lumen Christi Commission made such a point to work with the Chancellor's Office in adding these questions for the PNI. And so you may say, well, okay, if they say yes, or if they're interested in finding out more information, what do I do then? Well, as a commission, we have a number of resources available on our website, and we're encouraging all of you to use that website as a focal point for your purposes. So you can go on that site and see all the resources that there are for you, all the resources that there are for couples. And of course, one of the most important things is using the outreach tools that are there to be able to allow a person to have that one-on-one discussion, a couple discussion, or again, just to access resources that are beyond them. Because again, it's not only about the user's use, but it's also about those affected by the user's use. And if you find out that you're talking to a couple where the other person who hasn't used pornography in the past just thinks it's not an issue, they're in probably for a rude awakening, especially down the line. And so it's an opportunity to get them connected with resources of understanding what's going on here. We're not trying to create a problem, but we are trying to prevent problems from occurring in the future. And so the final part of this is if you have any questions or need any help in this, again, there are a number of different resources to reach out to. Of course, our Marriage and Family Life Office is a great resource, and the Lumen Christi Commission Office Commission is also a helpful resource for you to be able to use as well. I am here for your resources. I always give out my cell phone to anyone who needs it. It's 610-207-3441. And I would be happy to answer any of your questions at any time. So may God bless you. May God bless the work that you do with our couples in preparation for their marriage through the prenuptial inquiry especially, and any way that we can help you, we will be happy to do so. May God continue to bless your ministry, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this message.